you. And yeah, anyone want to raise your voice?
They might just be a bit hard to hear because they're sitting in the like other area. So
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you see a raised hand, and you can try maybe answer it and see what happens, but it might be a bit quiet.
Okay. That's fine. Yeah. So Nathan, can you let us know about you, if possible? Okay, that's fine. Yeah. So today I will. Okay, so Nathan here is People Republic of Belize. Oh wow, it's a cool name. And haven't done fundraising before. Okay, wow. And you are flying. Okay. Yeah, it's good mood today. Thank you, Nathan and Gloria, for answering my questions. And yeah, I hope next time I can hear from others. And so for the agenda today, I would like to share with you some fundraising ideas of student organizations that I have been worked with over the last few years. But this is not the main focus. The main focus today is about the hybrid model of social enterprise. So with like some, we have Angeline Ping as well. Thank you for introducing yourself. So you're from Filipino Student Association, and you raise money for PUSO and for typhoon relief. Okay, yeah, thank you, Angeline. Yeah, so here maybe you have seen or done some of this activity before. For example, like bake sales is very popular, right? Because people bake and then sell the cookies or sweets or the pastry to raise fund. Membership fee is something like I believe that some of your clubs may apply, like having the membership fee, which is a discount for ORIU student, and for community in the neighborhood can be higher fee. Selling specific products, for example, the t-shirt or bags or other accessories for students, which is also a good way to raise funds. Organizing events. So events can be, you can have money from tickets. It can be a talent show, a music festival, a cultural festival, or you can raise money by raffle, right? A way of lottery. People pay $1 to $3, but they can promise they can have the big prize of $500, for example. So many people will buy that, and you will have enough money to pay for the price as well as have profit to fundraise for your club. Donation box is very traditional, right? It's not very time consuming. It's just you just need a place to put the donation box. But you need a high traffic place in order to have more money. Another way that students often do is offering services. For example, you do the tutor for students. Like some members in your organizations can have very good at math, or very good at marketing, or very good at research. So you can tutoring for the student indeed, so that they can you can raise money, or you can tutoring for the kids in school. Sponsorship and grants are also very popular among big events. And sponsorship can be when you ask the local business or the corporates to sponsor, but they often do it when you can reach a large number of audience. Grant is the like you can have a big amount of money with grant, but the problem is they always seek for impact. So if you cannot prove the impact of your club or the impact of your activity to the vulnerable groups or the disadvantaged group, you can like hardly secure a grant. And in whatever you did as a fundraising activity, I think there are 5 main principle. So firstly is like capitalize on talents. So it is a kind of human resource within your clubs or your organizations. What talents are you having and how you can make money from that. So we can capitalize on talents. It is your capital. The second, you have to be innovative in finding ways to connect students and the community. Community here, I mean the local business, the people in the neighborhood, or the people, the sponsors who can be corporates in the neighborhood in Urawa. So in order to connect that, you need to determine your audience very clearly. Who are your beneficiaries? It can be students, but here maybe like very specific audience, like Filipino students, or student who love sports, or student who African student, for example. So it is determine your audience, your beneficiaries, and your customer, and who is your potential who can customer who can pay you for your services or products. The fourth is the meeting a need. So your clubs or in order to raise fund, you must meet a need. Even events or an activity or a service or products you sell, this must meet a need of audience. And yeah, of course, you have to spread the words. So make it very well publicized by all the channels that you can have, like social media or a bulletin or poster or any kind of communication that you can have. So this is basically, I just summarize all the things that I have seen students did in around me for many years. However, for today, this is not the main focus of today. This is just a summary. I would like to encourage you to rethink about fundraising for your organization. So all the activity I listed before was more like a one-off effort. So this is more for for this year you do that, and next year you have to think of other way to do it. And you have to keep on thinking, keep on trying to raise fund. But maybe you shift your thought from one-off effort into how to create a recurring revenue stream, how to like sell or create a business model that can help you bring a sustainable source of revenue to fund your activities. So that's the questions. And I hope that this example can like give you some idea. So Slash, have you heard about Slash? Okay, I cannot see you well, but yeah, I hope some of you may heard about Slash. Slash is the it is in Finland. It is the student-led initiative. It's a kind of activity by an entrepreneurship club in university in Finland, and they started with an event of about more than 200 people for the support the entrepreneurship or startup idea of their students. But then they grow. They were so successful in that they has grown into a series of events organized all around the world. Also in the term in the theme of startup and entrepreneurship. And then they also create a company, and not only focus on the annual Slash event as their like original products, but they also start 3 other channels to make money. So the startup media like Sock by Slash, and another online community like Note by Slash, and another smaller global events called Slash D. So yeah, that is somehow like it is not a social enterprise. It is a startup, entrepreneur, like an enterprise. However, the thing I want to emphasize here is the effort of students. Like people cannot imagine that such a big event, such a huge event can be organized only by a team of students. But then they did it, and they can establish into a a company later. And they can do it. And I believe that you can do that too. But yeah, of course, we need to be creative in terms of the model for our club. So the focus of today is to ask you to think about how to create a revenue model while also creating impact. So I would like to introduce a concept of social enterprise, which is the always seeking the balance between profit and social impact. And it also balance between the benefit of individuals and community. So in normal social enterprise, like the money, the profit will go into the pocket of an individual or a group of individuals. But here, your club and your association is very similar to social enterprise because it serves the benefit of the community of students and maybe the community of neighborhood community as well. And it is the balance between business and charity, and more on this. Okay. So there's a spectrum of social enterprise. It's run from the left side, you can see is the traditional charity, and on the right hand side, the traditional business, and social enterprise fall into the middle. More specifically, you can see there are 4 different types of social enterprise in the spectrum. Nearer to the left end is the non-profit with income generating activities. So imagine your club with some activity that you can that help you generate income. For example, you're selling t-shirts, selling a lot of specific products, selling bake sales, or you can organizing event to sell tickets. That is called like more non-profit with income generating activity. More on the right, near the right end is the social responsible business. It means that business, they still have the profit making as the ultimate goal, but they, you know how they on their value chain, they maybe buy the products from suppliers who are the vulnerable groups, or they can hire some workers who are like disadvantaged youth or people from minority background, like for example. So on the left hand side is the motive is the impact, the impact driven motivation, and on the right hand side is still more profit driven. However, they are still called a social enterprise in the spectrum. But that is just the basic concept. So now I will jump into the specific models of social enterprise and an example of those. So basically, you can, from the concept that I introduced before, there are 2 parts of social enterprise that you can think about for your clubs or your organizations. The first is the business model, the blue circle, and the yellow circle is the impact model. And so there will be some overlap between those. And the more overlap, the two circle, the more sustainable your impact is. And so business model is the way that you capture, you create, and you deliver value to your customer. And on the other hand, impact model is also a way you create, you capture, and deliver value, but not to customer, but to beneficiaries. So today I will, you can imagine the impact model is the aiming at beneficiary, and business model aiming at customer. And how do they overlap each other will define the hybrid model of those. Yeah, so this is the business model canvas. It is like we have a week to talk about this, to understand this tool and to use that into building your club. But that will be like more later. But I just introduce here so that you can know how the business model can deliver value, create value, and capture value by 9 elements. So it is about customer segments. It is about the value proposition that you propose to that segment. It's about customer relationships. It's about the channels to reach customer. And it's all about the key activities, key partners, and key resources that help you to deliver your value. And the most important thing is the cost structure and revenue stream that help you like not only create value to others, but also capture value for yourself, for your organizations. Like the surplus will be from revenue minus the cost will have the profit for your organizations. So it is a brief introduction about business model canvas. Yeah, we have other costs about that. So come back to the level of integration between the impact model and the business model. So we identify like 3 different models of the overlapping. So on the left is the embedded model where the impact and the business nearly the same. So it is where the customer and beneficiary are the same groups. For example, if you're serving students in URU, the student also your customer, and student also they are also your beneficiaries, the one who benefit from your services. So it is called the embedded model or the mission centric. Yeah, and the second model is the integrated. So you can have some product services that you sell to both, which is the overlap. However, you have some other product or services that you sell to the community, not the student, and some and the student can benefit from free services or free activity that the money from the customer can bring to the activity of beneficiaries. And on the right hand side is the external, it's called mission unrelated model, where you can imagine that you create a business totally different with your student activity. For example, you create a thrift store, or you can create a bakery that you sell to the community, the neighborhood. But the money, the profit from that store can go to fund your student activity. So that is called like totally mission unrelated. And like, okay, so I would like to check how is everybody with me? Is still okay? Before I jump into very specific detail, can you just thumb up so that I know that is okay? Okay, thank you. Okay, so for the embedded model, where the social impact and the business model and the impact model quite overlap, like 90% or 100%. So we have more specific model like fee for service model and cooperative model. So for the fee for services model, we have I can give example of the book share. It is an initiative it is an online website to provide for people with learning disability, visual impairment, and they have other reading barriers, and they have the books there, and people have to pay for the books to use, or they can pay for membership fee, and this is it commercialize the social services. So the beneficiaries also the customer are also the customer. They pay for the services, but they are also the vulnerable groups or disadvantaged groups that benefit from the activity of that business. Yeah, so for in the case of book share, they the blind people, they cannot read the book, but they can hear the audio book posted on the website, and they pay for that. So that is how they make money, and they also create impact. Another example is in Vietnam. It's called the Center for Education of the Deaf and Hard Hearing People. So they make money from providing services like lip reading how to read the lip, sign language interpretation, like how to interpret in the conference where deaf people can attend and understand. So they provide that kind of services, and they can have like 80% of revenue from all the services provided. So they aim at very specific beneficiary. Another in Orawa example is the Silver Spring Studio. They have the art activities for people with development disabilities. The art activity can be making pottery, drawing, like many and people with mental and developmental disability, they pay for that. So here I emphasize that the embedded model means the beneficiaries and the customer are the same. There's another kind of embedded model which is cooperative. So if you can hear like co-op is very popular, and where they you can use that model because your club or association is a kind of co-op where you can have the service for members. So because they are the co-op, so they can have the services for member, for example, market information, technical assistance, or they have, because economy of scale, so they can have the collective bargaining power, so they have financial sustainability by selling their product and services to members as well as to the commercial markets. Yeah, and so I give examples of for example, Orawa Renewable Energy Cooperative. It is in Orawa. Or the example of Equal Exchange is an US-based fair trade coffee company. They are the cooperative of many coffee producing farmers who join together to sell coffee to the customer. So I have maybe not have time to analyze the strength and the risks of each model, but I just want to give you an idea and example of each of the models so that you can maybe apply into your club's activity. So done with the embedded model. So now we come to the second model of integrated level. So the overlapping, like about 40 or 60% of overlapping between impact and business. So here I want to introduce like three models: employment model, market intermediary model, and equitable access model. So for example, employment model, you can see a lot in Orawa. For example, Foodworks. It is an image of the team. Team is the chef working with the disadvantaged young people who can work, who are hired to work in the kitchen for about 6 months and learn about all the skills needed so that they can have a job in the food sector or other restaurant in the future. So Foodwork, they pay for the student to be trained. Student the trainees can be trained as well as work. So they have salary, they have skills and money at the same time. And another example that I always talk about is Koto in Vietnam. So Koto means no one teach one. So they have been around for 23 years. And Jimmy is in the chubby man in front. He was a Vietnamese Australian, and he started Koto to have thousands of children who can get a hospitality degree after 2 years, and they have a very good salary jobs in hotels and restaurants all over the world. So this employment model, it create a lot of impact. And the money, why is co-integrated? Because for example, Foodwork, they sell food to customer, and the students, the beneficiary now work as the staff, or the how to say, they the beneficiary and the customer have very related to each other, because without the student working making food, how can they sell food to customer? So that is the overlapping. In the Koto model, is the same. They have several restaurants in which students also as staff, so that they can serve customer, and the money from the restaurant go fund for their study. And another integrated model that I would like to introduce is the market intermediaries. So this is more like when you start a business, a social business, to connect people, farmers, with the international market. For example, the image here is the Dabak CBT. CBT means community-based tourism. So it is the social enterprise created to assist rural families in Vietnam, in the north of Vietnam, to setting up a homestay. And because they are ethnic minority people, they don't know English, and they cannot connect to international tourists. So the CBT like do the job of market, connect them with the customer in the international tourists, and assist them on training on how to set up a good hygiene homestay. Like kind of everything they did is to support the rural families in they are very poor. So there's many kind of fair trade importers, and yes, like Sepi Cafe or Vinasamek, they sell star anise and cinnamon for the farmers. So that is called the market intermediaries model. There's a lot of integrated model, but I just give the three very typical one. So the third one is equitable access model. So you can imagine that, for example, the one-for-one model, like Tom shoes. When customer buy one shoe for them, they pay for two shoes. So that one shoe can be given for free to the poor people in Africa. So eat my lunch in New Zealand, there's a model where customer go to buy lunch can also subsidize for a lunch of other disadvantaged groups. So this model have is a strong marketing message and clear value propositions. However, it's a high cost, and this increase the price a lot. So that is not very competitive in the market. The last model is the external model, where the business and the impact are totally separated. I can give an example of 27 seconds. Do you know 27 seconds stand for? Yeah, it is the number, like it is the company, the name of the company, because they think that every 27 seconds there's a like woman is to support the woman trafficking, like support the woman who was trafficked before they rebuild their life. So they want to end the modern slavery, and the business of 27 seconds is to sell a bottle water bottle, and they have nothing related to their impact. We can support the woman who was trafficked before. So they send their money to the charity called Haga, who they already work in this area for a long time. So this is the model that the business, they cannot solve the problem themselves, but they can create the great products, and they contribute to other charity to do that. Yeah, so that's all for the three big models, and several different specific models within those. And I hope you have some basic idea about it. So any questions? I'm happy to discuss. Yeah, I would love to hear from you. Any questions or discussions or comments that you have? Yeah, so anyone online or anyone in the campus you can raise your voice.
All right, looks like you just have a question in the chat here. Angeline asks, what is the best model for new companies or startups?
Okay, that's a very big questions. Thank you. And Anjali, I think that's the reason why I need to present a diversity of models, because there's not the best model for every startup, because it depends on the resources and the situation, the condition of each startup. If they I think, for example, they some startup they started with their strength, so they can create a business within the talent in their team. They can create a marketing agency or communication agency, because their team have the people who are expert in marketing or communications, and the money from that they can use that talent to support the disadvantaged or the vulnerable community. So it very depends on the founder, their wish as well. If they want to lean more towards impact, to support the people, or to lean more toward like creating profit. Yeah, I hope to can answer that, but this is not, it's impossible to answer in one model. Yeah, and it's the diversity of life, like people can start anywhere, any way they want. But of course there's a method to know about that. So before choosing a model, you need to do a lot of previous steps. For example, doing a kind of problem analysis. So think about the problem you want to solve, and the team can sit together and analyze the root cause of the problem that you want to solve. For example, you want to deal with racism. So what is the root cause of the racism in Urawayu, for example? So then you can choose one activity that can deal with one root cause. You cannot like cover the whole sky, right? You can just do one thing for your model. And so problem analysis, and then thinking about uh, value proposition for customer. So we think about your customer. Who is your customer segments? Who will you serve? And what is their pains? What is their pain point? So we have another core value proposition canvas so that we can analyze the need, the pains, the gains, and the jobs of customer, so that you can provide the best value to them. So that is the second. And the third, when you are clear about your problem that you want to solve, you are clear about your customer that you want to make money from, then you can go to create a business model. The business model that I showed you before, this one, yeah, this one. So defining all the 9 things and during that process, you can answer your questions, like which model is the best. Okay, thank you, Harry. I have a question here. Would you be able to elaborate on the one-off effort concept? Okay. Yeah, it is the word I use myself. However, what I mean is, so the difference between a charity and the enterprise is the different. You can think of a linear, like a linear. When the money come in and the money go out, and the activity is in between. So you can raise funds from sponsorship or from grant, and you spend all the money for that activity or to create impact, and then the money will, like, you no longer have any money after you finish your work, your impact. However, for the recurring revenue, you can imagine this not a linear, not a line, but it's a circle. So the money from the store or from the business can go back, this come and spend for your activity, and then this can come again. So the money is continuously support for your activities. So that is more sustainable way to have your impact like continue. And for the on the left one of effort, I mean, when you raise fund, you have grant, but after 1 year you spend on that grant, then nothing left, right? Yeah. You got it, Hyrie? Okay, thank you. Yeah, but normally with startup, especially social startup, the grant or the sponsorship at the beginning is a very good. It's a leverage for them to create a sustainable business model in the future. Because like when you start, it is so lack of resources. You don't have enough knowledge. You don't have enough time to test your products, and it takes you about 1 year, 2 years to actually build like product development, like build your products that can deal with a need of a customer, and you have to test it with the market. And during that year, maybe you need a grant to fund for your team to do it, or you need a grant to make a prototype or make a minimum viable products. I use a lot of terms, but minimum viable products, it is the products that like basically can you create to bring to customer to get their feedbacks and get their comments, so that you can improve it and build marketable products later. So it is a minimum viable products only. Yeah. So it takes time for a startup to build a business model. So a grant from the beginning can be a good resources. Yeah. Do you have any advice on how student organization can approach other business for support sponsorship grants? Yeah. So currently CSET, we have, let me come to the final slide where I introduce some program for students. Yeah, so I forgot to tell you about the upcoming events. So there's on the left, there is a social engagement. It is an initiative that the CSET is doing with ORYU. So in fall and winter, fall this year and winter next year, if you are a student in 3 courses, we are just currently working with 3 professors in 3 courses, and it will be expanded next semester. So in digital marketing, research method in communication, and in the translation course. So the student in this course will work with social enterprise. Like a group of 5 students will work with social enterprise for a semester and try to answer problems of a social enterprise. So that is the way you can be immersed in a real social enterprise context, and you can know the strengths, the constraint of those of the social enterprise in Urawa. Yeah, so maybe yeah, this is not directly answer your question, but I just want to just remind me so that maybe you can learn about social enterprise first by doing this. Come back to your questions of how student association can connect with like funding, right? I think the only way is to first think about your impact, because in order to create to ask for grant, they always ask like, who are you serving? What is your what are your beneficiaries? For example, if you are serving like general students, you may think of creating a project for vulnerable groups of students, or the minority uh, students. Like, for example, there's a Filipino association here, or there's a immigrant like international student, for example. Or this can be, yeah, you can be creative on that, but it's must creating impact for the and what is the impact? You can look at the sustainable development goals. There is 17 SDGs, 17 SDG defined by the United Nations. It is the impact that maybe you can have a look at that to see which impact you can create within your club or your organizations, and think about your resources as well. How your team, like what talents do you have? What is the resources, capital resources, human capital, financial capital, and what is property you have, like everything you have in your hand, and start with those, and then build a model in your mind first. And yeah, looking for you can go networking with the social enterprise cluster meetup that we have, not only social enterprise but can be funders to share their funding scheme, or you can go online. There's a lot of grant. There's a grant finder. There's a website. You can Google search to see what is grant available here. You can check City of Ottawa website to see what grant they are offering for different, but they are offering based on impact. They don't like, I'm offering a grant or funding for students. No, they don't say that. They are offering to deal with, for example, poverty, or they have to deal with environment problems. So you must clearly state on your mind that which impact are you creating, and then you can start searching for grants. Yeah, that is about grant. And about sponsorship. Sponsorship for events is more like you can collect a large audience for them, for the business. For example, if they want to sell like a bubble tea local business, you organize a talent show, and all the students there want to drink like bubble tea, for example, and they can sponsor bubble tea for the event, and their brand can be known by a lot of students. So sponsorship is more like you doing the communications services for the corporate or the local business that sponsor you, to get their brand recognized among students. So when you target sponsorship effort, you should focus on the brand that targeting students or young people, so that you can easily persuade them to pay money for you to doing activity that attract students. You know. Yeah. Hope this answer your questions, Hairi. You're welcome. Yeah, is there any questions, other questions? And okay, so if not, I would like to introduce, take some last minute to introduce others activity of CSET that you may benefit from. So there's a social enterprise cluster meetup. The social enterprise community in Ottawa, we met every 2 months. So last time we met at CSET office in Bayview Yard on 18th of August, and it was very fun. Like people, we have about more than 25 people gathering and chat and play games and talk about like further collaboration opportunity. And there are some students as well. So yeah, if you want to network, or you can want to work for social enterprise, you can come. The social engagement initiative I already mentioned. So if you have students in that in those courses in OYU, you may can have enroll. I think it's not all the students, just some students in that course can choose social enterprise to be a case study, so they can work with social enterprise and do their assignments at the same time. There's a social enterprise one-on-one. Okay, this is very suitable for you. So it's every month in the online. It's a lunch and learn. It's about 12 to 11 to 1. So in this one, Michael Moore, my executive director, as he said, he will talk about like very basic things about social enterprise. For example, the legal structures, whether to choose like non-profit or to choose a charity to register as a social enterprise. So and also he talked about business model, about value proposition canvas. So it's more detail on the thing I shared today. So you can also benefit from that. It's all free. So that is all the free activity that I mentioned. The social leadership roundtable and the social enterprise impact accelerator are not free, and it's not for students. It is they are for social enterprise who already work. But the impact accelerator can be for the one who want to start your business or your social enterprise. Yeah, that's all for now. And you can also join our CSET newsletter. And if you want to see a bigger picture of social enterprise in Ottawa, you can go to our social enterprise directory. We have a list down in many sectors, in many fields, like social enterprise, who can be thrift store, cooperative. Yeah, but they are all in Ottawa or national capital region area. Yeah, I think that's all from my side. You're welcome. Any other questions and comments? So friends in the campus, anyone want to just go to the microphone in the stage? Maybe you can talk. Love to hear from you.
Hi, it looks like everyone's asked the questions either via the chat on Zoom or if you don't have any here, but they did give you a little round of applause. I don't know if you could see them, but thank you so much for coming out. We're gonna leave the Zoom call on because for our next group anyway. So if there are some people that have last minute questions, they can in the chat.
Yeah.
But other than that, any of our attendees that are here in person, you're more than welcome to come out to the hallway and just a bit until your next workshop. And hi, we're gonna I'm gonna like grab my exec to come talk to you before you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Can you see them saying bye? We're all waving bye to you.
Yeah, bye-bye. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of the conference today. I'm so sorry I cannot join you today. It must be very fun.
Okay, this worked out really well so far. The Zoom. We have a lot of people coming in. Okay,
so how was today, Kelly?
How was today? So you're asking how was today?
Yeah, I would. I mean, like, I would like your feedback on the sections.
Oh, okay, yeah, it was really good. Yeah, I liked that you provided some extra resources for the end. That's really great for them to kind of consume on their own, whatever they're interested in doing. And it's definitely a unique topic. We haven't had something like this to conference before, the topic that you have. So that's really coming for us. Yeah. And it was a good like, I think that's good to kind of get some wiggle. Yeah, I hope that the student can find it helpful or like benefit them in some way. And yeah, let's yeah, have a good have a great day. And I know we have a lot of other activity after this, right? Yeah, you're our first speaker for today, so it's good to get a feel. Like, sorry, there was like a bit of like adjusting to things, just because you're our first one. We're still kind of getting ourselves set up. But we appreciate you coming in so early and doing this for us. I don't know if there's anything else you needed on my end right off the if you have any questions for us. I don't know. I know that you've been mostly in contact with Lilia. Yeah. So I don't know if you had any questions on here for us or if you're all set. No, I'm done. I'm just okay. Emily asked me to do this and I'm happy to do it. And yeah, anything else like we can work on